All right. This is episode 111. Bringing some spooks to this episode. A little before Halloween, but yeah. Today we have Mustafa from Ghost Hunters. Welcome.
Hello.
I just want to say
Thank you.
that so I didn't really believe in ghosts at first, and then I started watching Ghost Hunters, and then I started seeing some spooky things, and now I'm not too sure. Now I'm not too sure about the things because I've seen. So I just want to
Yeah.
ask: do you believe in ghosts?
I I have to tell you, the reason why I got into investigating the paranormal was because I kind of doubted as to whether or not there was the existence of crazy stuff, and I always kind of thought I was crazy, that these things that I had witnessed when I was a kid, and I was like, what was wrong with me? And I wanted to disprove it. But the more that I investigate and the more that I work and the more data that we collect, I have to say it's really, really great to not have to go on just feelings, because anybody can go in a situation and be like, oh my God, I felt like there was something there, or I felt like there was something scary, or that's what I felt. But it's like, okay, but where's your evidence?
What are you seeing?
Like,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I mean?
That's what I love about what you guys do.
What's your
'Cause
evidence for that?
you guys go and you
Yeah,
try to
it's
get
the
like
same with like a relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All right. We
Yeah.
need the evidence.
It's the same like anything
Uh-huh.
else. Yeah, just like in a relationship. It's like, oh, I feel like I love you, but then it's like you never talk to me, you never want to spend time with me, you never want to hang out. So it's like, okay, you can feel like you're my friend, or you can feel like you're my, lover all you want, but if you're not spending time with me, or I don't want
Sure.
you don't ever show that, then it's like, what the hell? It's like, okay, this is useless to me. So I think it's the same way with paranormal investigating. You know what I mean? It's like you have
You want to involve yourself in it.
to really get that
That's true.
evidence. Now you can have, yeah, and you can back up those feelings that you had with the evidence that you get. So yeah, it's really cool, and I think that we've documented a lot of great evidence. So I'm super happy about that.
So, all right. So you didn't answer my question. I asked, do you believe in ghosts? Have you seen something? Have you seen something that you're like, I really like? There's no like, it doesn't make any sense. Like there's so much evidence that there's something there, but I can't
Yeah.
see it. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Is there something? Can you tell us like a story about it, or?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, there's plenty of stories from the road. I mean, take your pick of any of the episodes that we've had, especially in season 2. I would say one of my favorite locations, we were in Haines, Alaska. We were investigating Fort Stewart, and there was the Halsingland Hotel on the 4th floor of the Halsingland Hotel. Daryl and I were upstairs. We interviewed a witness prior who had experienced on 3 separate occasions somebody grabbing their arm. They couldn't move. I asked, okay, well, did you see what this person looked like, or whatever it felt like? And he says it was an old man. And I was like, what did he look like? What was his color? What would describe him? What was he wearing? He said all I saw was an old man's face, and it looked like it was staticky, like an old TV set. I said, all right. So Daryl and I are investigating that top floor Halsingland Hotel. And we start feeling like a little weird. And I start smelling mothballs out of nowhere, like that stench of like mothballs. And then I become paralyzed for a few seconds. I can't move my arms. So, I think this is me kind of patting myself on the back here, where it's like a lot of people would be like, oh my God, it's a ghost. I looked to the camera and I said, man, I'm really pissed off right now because we have to have some way of documenting this. I don't want people to think like I'm literally like, oh,
faking
I can move my hand.
Wow.
So right after I said that, Daryl's like, yeah, I feel a tension in my lower back. Okay, cool. And then Daryl gets freaked out. He feels like, he says, I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, something charged me, man. I said, something charged you? And he said, hey Zach, that's my son's here. I'm like, something charged you? And he said, he's like, yeah, something charged me. And he goes and he asks whatever charged him to charge him again. He's like, oh, you got me once, but you're not going to get me again. It charged him again, and it got him again. He got scared again. So then after we went back to review the evidence, the evidence, one, when I was paralyzed and I couldn't move my arms, Daryl said, when he says, "Oh, I feel a tension in my lower back," it turns out that right before he says, "I feel a tension in my lower back," you hear another man's voice say, "I feel a tension in my lower back," and then Daryl says, "I feel a tension in my lower back," as
Whoa.
if whoever was there predicted what he was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
that's
on
what I'm.
Daryl's
Yeah. Wow.
body camera,
Mhm.
he caught. Yeah.
That's what I meant. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
was.
So
That's what I
he
was
caught
saying.
like
Yeah, when I say like I didn't believe in ghosts at first, but then I started watching Ghost Hunters, and
yeah.
then I'm like, wait, something doesn't like add up here, because I believe like in what I see and what I hear and stuff. Ali's here. Welcome. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Ali.
I had to go do a COVID test. I'm traveling on Saturday, so sorry
Best
for
luck.
being late.
Mhm.
All good, man.
I was
Yeah.
very busy because everyone is traveling now. Back to the topic at hand.
Ali, do you believe in ghosts?
Of course I do.
Have you seen a ghost?
Of course I do.
When?
Without a doubt. I haven't seen, okay, but I have had paranormal activities happen to me in the past. I've discussed about this before in terms of what happened to my brother whenever he walks in on me sleeping. Right, I've gone into. If you want me to go into details
Yeah,
again,
sure. Tell us.
Mustafa, I don't mind. Uh,
Mhm.
all right. Every time I say the story, I get a lot of chills. Right. So you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'll unmute when I talk. I just want to make sure that you're not hearing my son run around and play with dinosaurs in the background.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be annoying for you to keep like unmuting and stuff.
Fine.
So
I'm good. Don't
all
worry
right,
about it.
whatever suits you. So I have the dates ready for this, right? So 28th of July, 3 p.m. My brother walks in on me on the computer right here. He's standing right in front of where I am now. He's like, "Did you send anything to me last night?" I was like, "No, I slept early last night." "What do you mean?" He's like, "Okay, well, you sent me a message last night asking me to play the Quran on your laptop, but not too loud. So on the speakers on my laptop, but not too loud." I was saying this to my friend today when I went out when we were going to buy stuff. I was like, "No, you're joking." He's like, "Ali, look." He shows me his phone. I look at his phone. I'm like, "No, this is like a fake WhatsApp app or whatever." He's like, "Okay, check your phone. Maybe it is. I don't know what's going on." I checked my phone, and it literally says, I'll read you the message. All right. I said, "When you wake up," this was sent at 6 a.m. I woke up that day around 12. "When you wake up, come to my room and play Quran on the laptop and put it on speaker." And then on its own, another message, "but not too loud." Weird,
Wow.
right?
Why?
I was asleep, dude, and I woke up. I always like I slept at 10, and I woke up that day around like 9, 8, 9.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
I mean, I've heard of sleep walking, but not sleep texting.
Or sleep texting and asking specific stuff.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
is
yeah, I know sleep texting like DDD, like just like that. That would,
yeah, that would be fun, but like,
by the way, go get a haircut tomorrow at 10 a.m. You pick up a gallon of milk.
yeah, like that just doesn't happen, right? Okay, so let's cut to a week after. A week after this, exactly. My brother comes in again, and this time he's like shook. He's proper like shaken from what he's seen from me. He said, "I walked into your room at around 4 a.m. You were already asleep. As soon as I passed in front of your bed, I sleep on my stomach, right?" He said, "You woke up like this. You looked at me straight in my eye, and you were speaking in an alien language."
Wow.
It's like an alien language. Like it's
That's
because me and my brothers are kind of good with language. Like we can kind of guess what a person, like which language is a person speaking. So like French, German, Latin-based language, they all kind of sound the same, plus minus a few letters. The Asian languages like Japanese, Korean, all that stuff kind of sounds the same, right?
But
This is a very recent thing that's happening.
What were you saying?
Right? He's like, "Ali, you spoke to me in a language I did not understand. I can't guess where it's from, and you weren't mumbling because you just woke out of sleep. It's as though you've been awake for a long time.
Holy smoke.
It's very clear. He's
That's
like, it was,
crazy.
he didn't say that. He basically said like it was very, very clear. Like you weren't mumbling.
Yeah.
He's like, usually you do sleep talk and you mumble, but that time you woke up and it was very clear.
That's interesting.
And then I asked you, he's like, I asked you when you were talking to me, I asked you, I said, what? And then I told him nothing. And then I went back to sleep instantly. Here's where it creeps me out. I don't remember me waking up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
You not remembering waking up makes sense. Like people wake up and fall back asleep, I guess. But like the alien language.
No. I'm like when I wake up and I go back to sleep, I remember last night I woke up,
these things happen. You wake up, fall asleep. Alien languages, Mustafa. Have you ever heard any alien languages? Like
no, I mean I don't really have a lot of experience with stuff of that nature, like people kind of being taken over and stuff. I mean, we have been on investigations where, you know, physical things would happen. I was at the Glen House in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Watch out, buddy. And I was talking about the family history there, and I was talking about you know, how traumatizing it must have been for the family to lose their house and lose all their money. But like, you know, I know you guys love this house, but it doesn't belong to you anymore. And right when I say that, I feel something on my arm, like really, really hot. And then I look and it's just scratch marks just on my arm. So in terms of like the physical manifestation of things, I definitely believe that it happens, but it's also, I don't know. I guess physical manifestations can happen in a variety of different ways. So, I mean, other cast members on the show, when we were at Madison Seminary, you know, I was investigating in the basement with Brandon at the same time. Brian and Rochelle are upstairs, and in a span of like, I think it was 28 seconds when we checked the timestamps, it was Rochelle was feeling, you know, she had pains in her stomach and she keeled over, and then out of nowhere, like less than 30 seconds later, Brandon, same thing downstairs. He felt a wave of cold air, and then he just had these pains in his stomach and he keeled over. You know, and it's not like it's food poisoning, like we all ate the same thing, you know what I mean? But it just seemed very, very specific how it happened. And yeah, and the only thing we can do is, like, it would be cool, like with your story, Ali, if like we of what had happened is, like, if we had some equipment in the room, like, you know, if we had an electron multiplying camera to see if there was like a photon event, or we had
you want to know what's funny? After those two incidents, I told my brother, hey, you have full access to my room. You can come in at whenever I'm asleep, okay? Under one condition. He asked me what? I said, your phone is in your hand and it's ready. And as soon as I do something weird, you record.
Yeah, no, definitely. Another thing you can do is, like, you get like a recorder, man. Just get a voice recorder.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I've watched Paranormal Activity, so I'm not doing that. Like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable. Like, if I have a camera pointing at me while I'm sleeping, I'm not going to sleep. I'm just going to be up all night thinking about the camera and how uncomfortable I am.
Yeah.
But here's what happened. He's like, okay, so I've come into your rooms at different times. Like, I wasn't planning or doing it regularly. And every time my phone was ready to record, like, I come in with I come into your room, he says, holding my camera, you're normal. There's nothing going on. I was like, okay, now that's just something else.
I mean, it's, well, here's the thing. I think you kind of touched upon a really interesting theory, and that's the idea that when something's being watched or whatever, it's not going to appear. It kind of appears when, and again, this kind of sounds like such a bad excuse because people see blurry footage online, and then they're like, oh, this guy's just trying to pass something off as a ghost, you know, because he wants TV ratings or whatever. But whenever we started using body cams, I mean, Daryl, with his body camera, caught what was probably, in my opinion, one of the most significant visual apparitions ever.
Do we have a video of that ready? Do we have it ready?
Is it up somewhere?
Like,
Can we look at it? Mustafa, yes.
Right
Yeah.
now, I don't know. We have to stream it from A&E. You guys might be able to find a
I
Yeah,
pirated
mean,
copy.
are
we
you okay
can.
with us showing a pirated stream? If you are,
I
then we'll do
It's
it.
on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
But if you'd rather,
I can't say that. I can't
okay,
sign
if you
off.
can sign off on that, we will. Please
Yeah.
don't sue us. We're students and we're
Kidding.
on
Just
technically
kidding,
YouTube.
broke.
Annie. Just kidding. Yeah. Um,
So should we or should we not, Eddie? I don't know
oh,
your
wait,
call.
is it on?
No,
It's
if
not on
A&E
YouTube.
has the
It's
Alaska
yeah.
episode,
Yeah, check
not.
YouTube. Check YouTube.
It might
Check YouTube.
check right now. I know they put some episodes on. I don't know if Ghost
What's
Hunter,
what do I type exactly?
Ghost Hunters season
Ghost Hunters
2,
Alaska,
Alaska.
Ghost Hunters Haunted Staircase.
Alaska. Was it a full body apparition or was it
Yeah,
like
it's not there,
So I have something up there, but that's just something on my cell phone that I uploaded while we were investigating the place. However, A&E doesn't have that full episode up on there yet, unfortunately.
Mus-
Not on YouTube.
I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that
Mustafa, I wanna ask you.
on YouTube.
yeah.
But damn,
Damn, I wanted to see. Yeah, really want to see it. Just you go through so much going into like every haunted place. You guys like, I see you're investigating in like every corner looking for that ghost. How much of it does not make it to air from the ghost hunting? Or is it
90% at least?
Wow.
Like there's
I see.
no,
Mhm.
probably around 90% of it. I mean, I was just talking about it with Rochelle the other day. She rang me up to say I was doing my family and everything, and we were talking about how I think there was a lot of the locations, especially in season 2, that could have easily been 2 hours long in terms of just content. There's a lot of things that they don't show. They don't show a lot of the debunking work. I mean, probably the most significant thing, and if I always bother this one editor of the show about it, was we were in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and it was a plantation where slaves were kept. And slaves were used to basically take sugar cane. So Brandon and I, this was, I think, it was July maybe or late June when we were in Louisiana. I forget, but it was the summertime. Mosquitoes everywhere. I just got tore up by mosquitoes, bites all outside. So we're walking out to this slave shack, and it's miserable. It's hot, and I start kind of reflecting on what it must have been like, to have been a slave. And a lot of times when you investigate, you try to, if you know a little bit about the history, you try to empathize with whoever might be there, right? But it's impossible to really empathize with someone who was born a slave or made into a slave. It's impossible. I wasn't rich growing up, and I was, we were kind of poor. There was times where, we had to drink was water and we'd eat beans, but I was good. Like there wasn't anybody going to kill me. There wasn't anybody beating me. Like, as you say, like, alhamdulillah, like, thank God, like I was fine. But like, then I started talking about that. I started like going off on, I was like, there's no way we can sympathize with you. There's no way we can empathize with you, but I want to let you know, and it might not mean anything to you, but if you are here, I want to let you know that even though things in America aren't perfect now, that they have gotten way better in terms of race relations. And even though you didn't have any say in the matter, and even though, it was against your choice, your work helped make this country better. And I wanted to thank you for that, even though it was against your will. So we go back and we're reviewing the audio of that session. And after I give my whole like speech, you hear a woman say, "Thank you." And it's just me, Brandon, and a cameraman there. And you hear a woman's voice in the middle of a field in a slave shack say, "Thank you," on the recording. Like she went up to the microphone and said it.
Oh,
like it was, and they didn't put that in the show.
What?
Because it was like, too Yeah,
because
it's too racially charged.
I see. Wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they didn't put that in the show.
Here, I remember because I live in Jordan. Okay. And I had one of my friends come over to study, right? We were studying in my office. I have like a room just for studying. My books are there. I have a table, and we were sitting. one of the doors to my room slams, right? My friend looks at me, he's like a little pale in the face. He's like, that was the wind, right? I was like,
Wow.
no, I don't open the windows. I don't open the windows because sometimes it can get noisy outside. He's like, no, you're bullshitting me. He got up, he checked the whole apartment windows. He came back and he was actually like, I was like, I mean, because we have in our traditions in Arabia, you know, jinn is jinn. They can't harm us as long as
Yeah.
you know, like they can't harm us unless you're not a mu'min or whatever, you know. So it's like, which I believe in. I'm gonna say I do believe that this is actual facts, you know.
Yeah.
So that was one incident. I thought it was the apartment a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So I left and I went to my new apartment here. I'm gonna share it. Excuse my drawing, but I did this on Microsoft Paint. But this is roughly the plan of my apartment. Okay, I sleep here.
Amazing.
This is a master bedroom.
Right,
this is the entrance to the apartment where I drew an arrow.
Come visit. Where the party
The
is at.
square is where I have one of my what's the word for it? Living room. And then here's like a kitchen, and then you have another like living room, right? Here. And yeah, there you go. And here's my office in my new apartment. This is the one I'm in now. Every morning I wake up to shine my shoes before I wear them, right? So there's this one morning. I'm not a morning person. I will say this now. I don't care who's messing with me. I am not a morning person. So I don't take it lightly. I walk to this room to get my shoes shined, which is my second bedroom, but it's unfurnished. So I have like a bunch of my shoes lined up.
Your shoe shining
Pretty
room.
much. You can call it that for now, right?
That's good.
I shine my shoes. I put my shoe shiner on the floor because this room is not furnished.
Yeah.
I walk back to this room to put on like my jacket. As I'm walking towards the exit door, right? The shoe shiner flies out of my room. Like someone physically threw it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I am not a morning person. This is where I did something very retarded. I walked back, I grabbed the shoe shiner, I flung it at the same direction.
That's amazing.
And I waited by the door leaning, and I was like, I said in Arabic, Yallah, which means come on. And literally, this is when I realized I was retarded. I was like, that's what I thought. I went outside my apartment. So I walked back outside my apartment, and I was like, what the fuck did I just do? What did I just do? Wait a minute. I just intimidated it. Ever since that happened, I didn't have any more paranormal instances in my apartment.
You're cursed.
I asked a religious person about this, right?
What did
And he was like, what you did was very good. I was like, why? He's like, because you showed the jinn, basically, that you're not afraid of him.
Yeah.
Why? He's like, because, you know, your belief and your faith is strong. So, and he realizes that you're not scared of him. You realize that he's another creation of God. He can't harm you, which is, you know, one of God's promises. I was like, that's not what happened. I'm just not a morning person.
Yeah.
I'm just not a morning person.
I think it just realized it was no fun to try and scare you. It's like, oh man, I'm just gonna go pick on somebody else. Or maybe it just
maybe. Like this happened, honestly, like to this day, I think to myself, I'm like, how did I fling it? I flung it. Like there's a mark on my wall because the paint was still pretty new.
Yeah.
There's a mark on my wall from when I flung the shoe shiner. And every time I walk past that mark, I just remember, I'm like, what the fuck did I do?
It's
Why?
weird. A lot of times we go into shock, like in a lot of those moments, like we just don't. Like I've been in situations again, like when I got scratched, I was just like kind of laughing, and I'm like, hey, Brandon, what do you think this is? He's like, oh my God, and I was like, yeah. Like it didn't really. And even when I tell the story now, I'm kind of just like, oh wow, that was nuts. But like while it was happening, like I've been in situations where like I've seen people getting like shot like right in front of me, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I'm gonna be late for my movie, and like walk into the movie theater, and it was just like, and then afterwards I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like why am I like that? Like, you know, or like I'll be eating at like a train station, and some like homeless guy's like throwing up, and he collapses on the ground. I'm like, oh man, I'm still like eating my sandwich after this guy just puked next to me and passed out on the ground. So it's weird. Like a lot of times we just, we just act a certain way,
That's funny.
Pretty much.
And why do you dive
Yeah,
into
so
these places?
you've never had any
That's
ghost
terrifying.
incidents or stories?
I'm not really, not too much. But I don't try to venture into these places. Like there's some place that's kind of spooky. I'm like, I'd rather like not. I'm, But Mustafa, you like actually go there, and are like you've been scratched and you've been like attacked. So are you not afraid of like something more evil by these demon ghosts?
No, I mean, again, like I'm kind of the mind that I don't know, because here's the thing, right? When you start talking about jinn and you start talking about evil demons, or like every single belief system believes that like their idea on what these supernatural beings are is correct. And there's evil jinn, there's good jinn, and I'm not saying that they don't exist or anything like that, but what I'm saying is like people have these ideas about this is what it is. And I've noticed in a lot of my investigations that if you are dealing with ghosts, right, is it really a ghost, like a spirit who's tormented and like, oh, roaming the halls and very sad, or it's trying to scare people, or it's mad? Or is it energy from our bodies that are trapped? An atom, you split an atom, it creates an atom bomb, it's a huge explosion, but the atom's still there. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. You die, you burn your body, it's still there, it's just in a different form, So is our energy trapped somewhere, right? And I'm kind of more interested with the human aspect of hauntings. People are haunted. We're haunted by things that we didn't do. We're haunted by things that we wish we could have done, or I should have said that to them in that moment, or I should have done this, I should have done that. Why the hell did I do that yesterday? I wasted my whole day. Like, you get these things. And I think for me, when I go into these places that are haunted and I see these stories that are sad, or if they're great stories about great people, it's inspiring to me. I should want to have a great life. And for me to have that enthusiasm every single day for what it is that I want to do, whether it's paranormal investigating or writing or going to the park with my son, I want it to be great, because the reminder that death is always there is a great, great, great reminder. It's kind of hard to just sit on the couch and binge watch 10 episodes of a show when you've gone to a location that just reminded you death is around every single corner. It's like, I might be dead one day. I might lose everything I've ever worked for. Let me enjoy it. So you tend to stay away from people who are going to waste your time in life as a result of that, and then get yourself closer to people who make you feel good but encourage you and push you to do good things. I'm not talking about living a comfortable life. I'm talking about people who are going to help push you. So that's why I do it. And I'm very happy and fortunate for the people that I met. So it's a very selfish reason why I go into these places, because as scary as some of the locations are, you should be more afraid of that moment when you're on your deathbed and you don't know what's going to happen. And you think to yourself like, wow, I wasted my entire fucking life and I never did anything I wanted to do. And I just made a bunch of choices and decisions out of fear. So face your fucking fear. And if you do that, that'll go into every aspect of your life. You'll walk up to the person that you find attractive, you want to go out on a date with. You're going to go after that job that scares you, that's so difficult. You're going to diet and get healthy because that's what you should do. And it's scary to do that. And you're comfortable with sitting on your couch and eating chips or whatever. It's all those things. So that's why I like it. That's the main reason why I love doing it.
All right. Well, here's what I want to ask.
Remember death.
Like, how would you define a ghost? Like these paranormal activities, is it someone who died and is like left on the earth to roam forever and ever, or
like that voice?
Because I made it obvious.
Yeah, like that voice
now,
you
like,
heard.
I believe
Yeah, that voice you heard, like that was spoke into the microphone. You captured that. Who, like, what do you think that was? How do you interpret it?
It's different. I mean, it's difficult. The only thing we can go on is evidence of what we have. I mean, I could throw out theories left and right, but here's what we know. We have an electron multiplying camera. It's a device that NASA uses in order to measure photon events, right? So what we're noticing is that every time there's a photon event and a weird occurrence, there are changes in pressure that occur at the same time. So what does that tell us? Okay, pressure has something to do with paranormal activity and changes of it. And photon events, light events, have something to do with that as well. So this leads us to some theories. Theory number one, when we die, is a part of us then kind of turned into light? Because what you have to understand about light is when light is born, the beginning of its life is the same amount of time as the end of its life.
Yeah.
Time does not exist for light. It does not exist for light. You turn on a light switch, its birth and its death is in that same breath. So there are a lot of interesting theories about that. Now we start look at the studies of black holes, right? And a black hole is this gnarly space phenomenon where everything is destroyed, but out the other end of the black hole is a completely new creation. So
I don't think that's how black holes work.
well, whatever it is, whatever it sucks it into a black hole, it gets everything kind of like time doesn't really exist in it. And when black holes, like they create, like they destroy stuff, but there's also creations that occur as a result at the end of the black hole. Like Sir Roger Penrose was talking about it on Joe Rogan's podcast. But the last one thing, there's two things we know about black holes that are interesting to us for paranormal research is one, they thrive under pressure, high pressure environments. Two, time doesn't exist in them. And then actually there's a third thing. The last thing to exist in a black hole is light. The last thing.
Yep, light is inescapable in black hole. But according to, physics, black hole is basically like a huge amount of gravity, right? And like a huge amount of mass all focused to the like size of a coin. And that's what causes like this huge disruption of light, time, space, energy, you name it.
Exactly.
So that's
well, what I'm saying is, again, it's anybody who claims to know what a ghost is or what a paranormal like activity is or an event is like, I would say that they're full of shit, because it hasn't been researched or studied in a scientific way. It hasn't been researched or studied seriously. There's people's beliefs and there's people's feelings. That's great. But like, I believe I have $10 million in my bank account, but I have to go to my bank account to prove that there's $10 million. And it's like, give me a loan. Why? I believe I have $10 million. It's like, no, I want to see your assets. So I think we really need to kind of apply that same logic and methodology to the paranormal field. And what I find interesting about the thing about pressure and time is, okay, are we experiencing someone who's died and that's the residual energy there? Or are we talking to somebody in a moment of time? Because time is not a straight line. Are we experiencing an event where there's an aberration in time where we're actually talking to somebody in their own time period? You know what I mean? Or in their own history or whatever it is. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know what it is.
We're just talking about it. Wow.
But that's the thing is like, what's the, why pressure? Why pressure? Why light? And how can we further that? Because those things are constant. We can always work on that. And it's like, there's a lot to do with that. So you just have to do more and more testing and gathering.
I mean, with pressure, I think pressure changes around like the earth. Like it can change spontaneously, can change, randomly. Also, wherever you are on the earth, the pressure is not similar.
Yeah.
So if you go up high into the mountains, the pressure is much higher. The lower you are towards the sea, the pressure is, much like lower. So with pressure, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like a solid thing to base on.
Well, I would say you're in the same location and you have a barometer there and the pressure is constant for 7 hours straight. And then all of a sudden you start talking about, we were in the Galena Marine Hospital and we start talking about a captain who was famous in the area who probably stayed at that hospital. And all of a sudden we have changes in barometric pressure And then at that same time, we start seeing light anomalies at the same time. And then the pressure returns back to its normal state as it was before. I would understand bringing barometric pressure, you know, you always do a baseline of your place. But I think documenting environmental changes is the best way to ascertain whether or not there is something actually going on.
Okay, here's the question. How many times did you try this barometer thing, and how many times was it like changing randomly, like out of nowhere?
It doesn't change randomly. There's almost always something
Sorry,
else
not
occurring.
not randomly, but I mean like this unexpected change and all these different events happening. So how many times did like it happen?
It happened for a few times in our investigations. It happened a few times in our investigations. It's kind of become like one of the like trademarks of whether or not something's going on.
We'll call it a sign and symptom of something as well.
What do you use? What's the machine you guys use?
So you can use any barometer. You don't. That's the thing is, like we only use devices that are adapted from other scientific fields. And again, like just to say like a sign that like something's wrong. It's not that something's wrong. It's just that there's something weird happening. Like, you know, we'll hear people report, I hear footsteps out of nowhere. Cool. There's footsteps going on above us. And then, oh, that's another interesting. We were in perfect example of that. We were in Connecticut in Willimantic, and this woman says, I hear someone walking down the stairs. And then we're hanging out, and then we hear every, like, I think I would say like every 40 minutes or so, dude, done. And it happens, dude. So then we got 3 of our, we call them data loggers because they just have a bunch of different environmental detection things packed into one device. It's got a barometer in there. It's got an EMF detector. It's got changes in temperature, which we don't really pay that much attention to. And then something that detects motion, but we disable that. But we want to document the changes in EMF and pressure. We put 3 of these on the stairs. So not only do we hear the sounds, but you see the changes in pressure occur, drop. So then we take it to the other part of the stairwell. We wait a few minutes, put them on there. We start hearing the footsteps, and then drop on every leg of the thing. So then we start to go, okay, are there any drafts that are causing this? We put it in front of a draft, not changing the pressure. Okay, like you do all these different things. There's no draft coming out there. So then you have to try to figure it out. And then we rule out any scientific possibility of what it could be. We can't find a practical explanation for it. That's what you want. You want to be left with more questions after exhausting everything else to say that, oh, it's paranormal, you know?
All right. Well, there are a lot of people who speculate, or they are just, you know, they don't believe, or they call it fake, right? So I understand the frustration of actually finding evidence and actually, you know, experiencing this stuff, only to have someone just say, oh, you're just lying, or you're just imagining things. But to see it more than once, you know, like you can't be imagining things unless you're schizophrenic.
It's happened at least, I would say, at least a dozen times with direct communication with pressure changes. I mean, we had stuff happen. I think the episode's on YouTube. It's a Worley Hospital in Pampa, Texas. But they didn't even put the entire interaction.
How do you spell Worley?
Worley. Ghost Hunters, Worley. And, you know, Brandon and I are investigating, and then something's setting we just have a regular basic motion detector. It lights up. Something starts setting our motion detector off. And we basically have a yes and no question and answer session with someone who's there after we directly started talking about a nurse who haunted hospital, ghost caught on camera. No, I don't know if that's the one. That's another one. That's Fort Stanton. But that one's good too. Wow. We caught something crazy at Fort Stanton. But like the stuff that we do at Worley Hospitals, like, I mean, we capture a lot of crazy things.
Yeah.
We got this.
Uh-huh.
We got this motion detector that's going. I knew you would click on that one.
I mean, come on, like you put a title like that, you can't blame.
Yeah. And you got Rochelle like, oh,
Okay, yo, what the fuck is this?
funny.
Yeah.
That's that one was at we were in Ohio at Landol's Mohican Castle, so it was pretty good. But like, yeah, that's the thing is like it's kind of frustrating because like, you know, we have some really great evidence and stuff, but then not all of it can get in the show. But okay, back to that motion detector.
Yeah.
The motion detector staying on. The way it works is that if you stand in front of it, the light will stay on. And then if you move away from it, the light will go off. So the light's on, and this is after we started having interactions with EMF, and this is an abandoned hospital that has no wiring in it whatsoever. We did EMF sweeps. There's no EMF going off. And I think I see something in a room. And this was like after Brandon caught a shadow on his body camera. I'm like, something's telling me like, is there something in that room? Is my mind playing tricks on me? I said, fuck it, just go in. So I went in, and all of a sudden, boom, EMF detector, we start getting hits of electromagnetic activity. Okay, interesting. So we start asking questions about who this person is. And we ask control questions. Are you a man? Nothing goes off. Are you a woman? Are we speaking to a woman? Boop, it goes up. It's like, okay. Just to check, are we speaking to a man? Nothing goes off. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to ask you again. Please be patient with me. Are we speaking to a woman? Boop, goes up. So then we ask these control questions just to be sure. So then after that, like, you know, we had other team members upstairs who had the same device. They weren't getting anything. And we asked, hey, we have 3 friends upstairs. It's a man by the name of Grant and then 2 women. Their names are Kristen and Rochelle. They'd really like to speak to you. Do you think you could go up there and talk to them? If so, could you set this device off? Boop, goes up. I'm like, okay, could you go up there and talk to them and do the same thing you're doing to our device to them up there? 20 seconds later, boop, their stuff starts going off. And they send her back down. They send this person back down. We confirmed that it was a nurse who had killed herself in the hospital by the name of Mary Lucille Myers. Her husband had come back from World War II. Things were bad at home. Back then, you know, especially in a very conservative community, you're not, and at that time, it's not like a woman's going to get divorced with her husband, and she felt very trapped. And she ended up killing herself at a job. So we start talking with her. The motion detector light is on. She starts setting the motion detector off. We're like, hey, did you step away from the motion detector because the light's staying on? And then if you want to answer yes, step back in front of it. So then the light starts to dim, and Brandon and I are like, holy shit, this is like intelligent. Like she's actually responding.
Speaks English.
To us. And then we go back and listen to the audio, and when we ask her, hey, can you step away from the motion detector? You hear a woman say, oh, sorry. Replied to us straight up, like, okay, just like and we had a conversation with her for like 26 minutes straight, and they only put like 30 seconds of it on the show.
So here's what I want to do, right? I want to watch with you, an episode. I'll just choose a random one from this, and I want you to explain to me what was going on through your like head. So you want to go for this one? Ghost caught on camera at haunted hospital.
This one, yeah, you can pick that one.
All right, it's a 5-minute video. Let's watch it. Okay.
Oh, this is Worley Hospital.
Worley or Burley?
The captions are wrong. It's not Burley.
It happens a lot. Trust me. We're no strangers.
It's the Google auto.
Strangers to love. Okay, here we go.
This is amazing. I mean, ambitious to say the least.
To say the least. You know, we have an emotional attachment.
Were you in this episode?
We have developed this love for it. It's just a beautiful building, one of the few in town that we happen to have. And so we loved it enough where Chelsea,
you know, they had plans for the hospital. They wanted to turn it into like a hotel. We call it bed and breakfast. And you could skip ahead maybe to the middle of the video, and they're just giving backstory on the cases. So I was...
Can we hear the backstory, or would you like to tell us like briefly?
I could tell you briefly about the backstory. So the backstory, Luke and Chelsea Dyer, their cousins, they saw this old hospital that was in Pampa, Texas, which was a town that didn't really have a lot going for it, but then they found oil in it, so ended up making a lot of money. But then all the oil was kind of gone, and people started leaving. Worley Hospital had served a lot of people in the community, but
there is no longer a community, so
Yeah, they have another bigger hospital, so this one they didn't need, so they shut it down. So then people, Luke and Chelsea, who bought the place, who wanted to turn it into this hotel, bed and breakfast, they started having like these weird sensations when they were in the buildings. They thought they saw shadow figures. So I went and I interviewed a woman who had investigated the place, who said that
this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's you.
Do you want to see like an actual clip of an investigation? Is that what you're going for? Because I could tell you what if you want to see that.
Sure.
I mean, I just want to know what was going through your head as you were doing the investigation, like how you were thinking. You know, what was the process? So, should we continue with this, or you want to like?
We could let's see. Skip ahead because I don't know what this clip is. If you skip ahead because these are all interviews.
I don't even.
So the area.
So we will do our very best. This is Grant, Kristen, and Daryl on the 3rd floor.
Yeah. So I wasn't in this one, but this one is.
That was weird. Something just.
You weren't here? Okay, let's find one that
No.
you were in. All right, here, let's just do Ghost Hunters. There we go. Were you on this one? The staircase creaks at night?
I don't know what clip they're using. Yeah, so that's the one I was telling you about. Yeah, that's the
staircase one. Yeah, this is the staircase one. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this one's
And
good.
went to bed. And maybe 10 or 15 minutes
Should I
later,
skip
I
it?
heard a man running up the
Yeah.
stairs.
And if you can lower the volume a bit, Tyler.
Like, boom, boom, boom.
Is it too loud?
A little bit, just lower it a little bit.
Because for me, it's like very, very low volume.
I'd say start right there. Go move ahead.
All right.
That's fine. That's fine.
Here, let me just do that.
Good information so far, for sure.
What?
So
What happened?
while we're walking out of that building, out of that home, it's a home case, we started hearing the footsteps down the stairs again. And we were like, okay.
Wait, how do you know it was down the stairs? What if it was up the stairs? Or was it like louder as it got closer to you? Or
That's a good question, too.
Well, have you ever made your parents mad and they ran down the stairs and you knew they were holding a ship in their hand?
I mean, all the time, but like I couldn't tell the difference whether it was my brother going up or.
Well, you can
No, wait, if it was my dad. My dad wears his like slippers and they make that loud ka ka.
No, well, the sound sounded like it was somebody walking down the stairs.
Stairs. Okay.
Like someone coming down the stairs. Because the sound was coming closer to us, not further away from us. You know.
All right, let's keep going. So
So it sounded like 3 steps. Boom, boom, boom.
Whoa, right here?
Yeah, but we're getting a temperature change.
Oh, temperature drop.
Temperature's dropping.
Yeah, I don't really.
So what's happened to like all you guys right here? Because I can see with his face, he's like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it was.
How?
I think. So what was going through our heads right there is it's always like, okay, what's the best way to rule out if this is paranormal, and what's an experiment that we can do to either prove or disprove that it's paranormal. So we're excited by the prospect of like, ooh, this could be this is something cool to do, because a lot of times you're just sitting there and nothing's happening. So anytime, the show's called Ghost Hunters, not Silence Hunters, you know what I mean? So it's like you want to have something to do. So at the prospect of anything that's like exciting, these are the claims that the woman who lives there had. It's exciting to experience what somebody else experienced. And it's like, okay, we can either disprove this and help her out, or we can be like, hey, you got something here and this is how you deal with it. So that's what was going through our heads right there. My head.
All right. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Temperature did drop.
That's strange.
Climb up and down and see if there's a delay as it pops back into place.
All right.
Listen.
Now we're trying to see if the steps creak again after you walk down it.
Give it a minute.
Oh, like a second creak. All right.
Done all
So
the testing.
when he walked down, did it sound the same as what you guys primarily heard?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Or was the ghost,
Any
quote
different?
unquote ghost, faster? Or
It
was like,
sounded-
what was the difference?
It sounded generally the same. It sounded like footsteps.
Oh, like and no particular pace of sound. Like it was just
someone
same
walking
thing.
down the stairs. I don't know any other way to describe it.
All right, fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just trying to like imagine, like, because obviously it wasn't very like audio wise, it wasn't very clear when the scene happened. So that's why I'm just trying to relive the moment.
I got that. Yeah, no, but it was definitely, it sounded like footsteps. That's where we're like, okay, what are those noises that are coming down there? It's like, dirt, dirt, dirt. You hear the stairs creaking. That was the one thing I was really kind of that I really wanted to do with the show was a lot of these locations are so big, so rig audio equipment everywhere is kind of annoying. But I would definitely want to do that in the future. Like just take that extra time, maybe take time away from other stuff like, you know, filming us setting up equipment and all that stuff. Like that's kind of useless. Like, you know, we set up the equipment, you know, we do that. You don't need to do all of that. Like, you know, just set it up with audio equipment and then, you know, we can go and review that.
Go and review it. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we review all our own evidence. Yeah.
Oh, you review your own evidence. So after it's all over, you're like, these points are the things that really are the evidence. That's you guys. You're the team.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
Whoa. All right, cool. And how do you guys find these locations?
People submit them. Submit them. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Yeah. If you keep watching the clip, you'll see the pressure spikes things I was talking about.
Sure.
Pressure spikes. Okay. So that's it, right?
Let's see.
One of the biggest claims that Susan has is someone walking and running up the staircase. And Kendall, our cameraman, heard footsteps coming down that staircase.
Okay.
And we got a temperature drop. So I want to take 3 data loggers and set them in succession on the staircase. If there's something happening on that staircase, these data loggers should pick it up. So I'll walk past it so you can see. So the bottom lights are indicating vibration, so you can see. Right?
Is that you?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot, right?
All
Why
right.
not?
Let's do it, brother.
Oh, pressure spike. There you go. See
Right
that?
there at the
Top
top
step.
of the step. I was literally talking about the boring things we do, and then they do it.
Second step.
Second step.
Pressure. Okay, see, this is the pattern, dude.
Okay, excellent.
This is exactly why I set these up this way.
Yeah.
This right here to me is going with the theory that you and I have been talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So there was an indication on the pressure step.
Yeah.
But there was no noise.
For that at that time.
The main reason, at that time, the main reason you were investigating those stairs was because you heard the noise, right?
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, for me as a viewer, like I'm trying to be as honest as I can with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm now thinking, was it the noise that worried you, or is it now just the pressure, or where's the noise? Like it's like a whole lot of questions.
A whole lot of questions.
Yeah. I think it's just trying to find what the patterns are, like what could weird about it. So you could put there's paranormal activity occurring on the staircase reportedly from the client who is a woman who lived there with her kid, and then for some reason there are pressure changes on the staircase that are occurring in the same areas where you hear doop 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 footsteps. So on other parts, like you can't really hear it because they play this music on the episode or whatever. It's going out like that, but like some occurrences you hear the footsteps or you hear noises and there's pressure hits, but then there's also pressure hits that go in a succession of 1, 2, 3 in the same rhythmic patterns as whoever's and theoretically whoever's walking over there. So I'm not saying it's a ghost. I'm not saying this is like proof that there's a living person in the house who's there. Could be energy that's trapped from people and the families and everybody who's lived in that house over the years, and they're just kind of running down the stairwell. And then why are there pressure drops? Why are there changes in the same area in barometric pressure? What causes that? What could cause a random change in pressure?
All right. So let's keep going.
In the same rhythm as the footsteps.
This is exactly why I set these up this way.
Yeah.
with that you and I have been talking about paths traveled. Look at this. What are the odds? If there was like an environmental change in this room, all three would have gone off.
Yeah.
At the same time. Like it wouldn't have been the top step, then the second step. You know what I mean?
All
So
right.
they didn't even show. They didn't even show the other ones. They might later on in that clip. I don't know, but we basically there's 4 different legs of that stairwell. We went on every leg of that stairwell, and we put it on there, and it's boop boop boop. And the same one we brought it up, boop boop.
It was going up the stairs, right? I think
Down,
from what I
because
saw,
it starts,
it was going down the
yeah,
stairs.
it starts on the top one, and then it goes on the one beneath it, and then the one after that. So again, I'm not saying it's the ghost of old man McGillicuddy,
Sure.
like you know, trying to grab a beer in the middle of the night, but it's definitely strange. I've talked to tons of people who you know use barometers and stuff like that, and we've talked to scientists and experts, you know, on the show, and nobody can really tell us like why there's just drops in pressure that are in the same pattern as somebody walking down the stairs. I thought it was a pretty cool correlation.
That's pretty cool.
You know, as opposed to just being like, oh my God, I felt something. What happened? Oh, I feel dark. I'm suicidal. It's like, shut the fuck up. If you want to be an actor, go be an actor.
I mean, I don't know who it was, but there was the Devil's Bridge or the Goat Man's Bridge, was it? The Goat Man's Bridge.
I don't know.
I'm sure you've heard of it.
No,
that's the case.
It's okay. Here, let me find it real quick. So, Ghost Hunters, Goat Man Bridge, right? And like, I'm sorry, I'm like, it's not the Ghost Hunters. I think it was someone else. It's not you guys, yeah, no.
Okay.
But the Goatsman's Bridge is like a bridge where they say they spotted the half man, half goat creature. It's very demonic. Lots of seances happen there, all that stuff. And you have these ghost hunters that go and they start choking and falling on the ground. I'm sorry, that's fake. That's it. There's nothing you can do to literally, like, either they're extremely psychotic, maybe, you know, they're randomly falling on the floor, grabbing the, or it's fake. Like, there's no other, you know, because.
Yeah, but what I like about your show is that
I'm a student
like, you're actually like
medicine.
doing the science
He's
of
a
it.
student of, you
like,
know?
yeah, psychology.
But
so,
with
like,
you
you're a
guys, yeah, you
scientist.
actually like
you're actually trying to measure these
trying,
differences. You're trying your best. Yeah,
we're trying to. There's a lot of like devices that I'll tell you guys straight up that are like people can manipulate them. Like with our motion detectors, if you're standing next to it too close and you trigger your walkie-talkie, it'll set the motion detector off. So we make everybody stand back, or we'll take the walkie-talkies. Nobody fucking touch the walkie-talkie. Everybody take them, put them over here, put your phones on airplane mode or back in the trailer. Like, let's just try to keep it as uncontaminated as possible. The old school tri-fields that measure EMF, like you could set that off with a walkie-talkie on the other side of the room. So you can make it pretend like you're having a conversation with a ghost, you know, and you set your walkie-talkie off. Like,
what about the voice box?
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, that's like, for the most part, it's very, very difficult that you're going to have a dictionary of words and then it's going to tell you stuff. What ends up happening with those situations in most of the cases that I've been, I'm not saying all the time, but I'm saying I've been on investigations where people are using the Ovilus, the voice box, and you heard about a little boy who died in a room because he fell off the balcony. So you sit there and this thing has a database of all these different words. And you could say like, is there a little boy here? And then they'll start picking up words that are associated with child, child, see? And it's like, okay, well, you know, if I talk about soda and my phone's within me and then I go on Instagram 5 minutes later, I'm gonna get soda. So it's like, these are things that associate the word. So you have people who they want to believe, so then they will start to any little thing. Like, you know, like I had a friend growing up and, you know, his dad was so abusive and he would just beat the crap out of his kid. This kid loved his dad. He loved him. And you know, anytime his dad would do anything that was kind of nice, he'd be like, yeah, he's the best dad. He's so great. And I was like, no, he's an abusive asshole. And we all saw it, and he was like, he sucks. But like, his dad would buy him a cheeseburger from McDonald's. You're the best dad. Oh my God, thank you so much. And he meant it. And it's like, that's because he wanted to believe that and have a great father figure so much that any little nice thing that he did, you want to believe it. But it's like the same thing with the paranormal. If you want to believe a place is haunted, you will go through some crazy mental gymnastics to prove that it's haunted. And people do that all the time.
All the time. I want to ask you, Mustafa. I know we're taking a lot of your time here. And
Yeah, I actually have to go.
But I want to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
Any alien experiences? UFO?
Believe it or not, man, I always thought that stuff was bullshit, but then we were in Fort Stanton, New Mexico. They asked me to step outside and do a solo investigative run on this cemetery. So it's this nice, really peaceful cemetery. I actually told my wife, I'm like, you know, if I die, could you bury me there? I really liked it. And it was this nice cemetery. I'm sitting up there by myself, and I'm there with the camera. Nothing's happening. I just hear coyotes talking to each other. And then all of a sudden, from behind this huge canyon, like a mountain, I see this light come up from the ground, swirling around, and then it swirls like a 5-kilometer radius, and then it goes for about 8 minutes, and then it swirls down and goes right back down the mountain. And then I find out next day that what was across from that mountain was Roswell, New Mexico, which is the reported site of that UFO landing. So I don't know what it was. I pointed my camera at it. It had IR. I couldn't get the light. It was just like I was trying to capture it, but it was nuts. I'll never forget that. I get goosebumps thinking about that. It was so cool. It was really cool.
Well,
but yeah,
we kind of reached our timestamp, so I really also have.
That was cool. I'm kind of convinced.
No problem.
My dad just called me. But this was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I've seen stuff, and like I'm not crazy. He's seen stuff. He's obviously not crazy. So yeah.
What's up?
Anything you want to shout out, let the world know before we.
No, I got a book coming out early next year with Brandon from the show. I can't tell the title yet, but follow me on social media. And Gatollari, and
Watch out for
check
that.
me out. Look out for the book. It's gonna be dope.
We'll leave all those links in
Watch
the
the
description
show.
below.
For the book.
This is usually how we sign out. Like,
subscribe,
everything.
follow the show. Stay away, ghosts.
Subscribe.
Stay away,
Peace.
ghosts. No, come over here. Peace.